Hi, my name's Amanda Ursel. I'm a nutritionist and I'm going to be talking to you about nutrition, diet and our immune systems. So just as a little brief overview of what our immune systems actually are, I've chosen a book here to show you. It's one of my children's medical books, but I think illustrates things quite nicely. It talks about the body barriers and also about germ eaters. Actually, these are sort of simplistic terms for what scientists would call the innate immune system and the acquired immune system. So our innate immune system, these body barriers, are actual physical ways in which our bodies help to stop pathogens getting in. So that's bacteria and viruses, for example. So we have physical barriers in the form of our eyebrows and our eyelashes, flicking away dust. If dust does get into our eyes, then we've got our tears, which help to wash bacteria away. We've got our salivary glands, which produce bacteria-killing enzymes. Once we get into our nasal passages and our trachea, our throat and our lungs, we have some really sticky mucus that helps to trap germs and stop them getting into our body. Then of course in our stomach we've got really acidic stomach acid, which can kill off germs if we've swallowed them with food. And then in our small intestine we've got more chemical digesters. In our bladder, well, obviously we expel urine, which takes bacteria and germs out with it. And then we've got our skin. All over our body, we've got skin, which acts as a physical barrier against invading germs. And actually releases, not only is it a physical barrier, the skin itself, it produces sweat and sebum, which both can help to kill bacteria. So they're the physical barriers which help to stop pathogens getting in. And we've also got the acquired immune system, which if they do get in, then the acquired immune system springs into action, and it has a little army of defenders, which include, for example, white blood cells. And it's a very complex system. But for example, there could be a macrophage, which when it sees a bacteria, for example, it tracks it down, it sort of engulfs it, and it makes it safe. So both parts of the immune system, the barriers and the germ eaters, can be affected by our nutritional status. It's not a case of boosting our immune system by eating certain nutrients. It's a case of making sure that our immune system can work as normally as possible. So we have to ask ourselves two things. What are the nutrients that can affect our immune competence if we don't have enough of them, and are we likely to be deficient in those nutrients? And they're two quite distinct questions, really. So if we look at the nutrients, I've just jotted these down, that can affect our immune systems if we don't have enough of them. Then we've got the vitamins, and that's vitamin C, E, vitamin B2, vitamin B6, B12, folic acid and vitamin D. And then when it comes to minerals, the main ones are iron, zinc and selenium. So the question is, as I said, which of those are we most likely to be deficient in? Well, if we have a healthy and balanced diet, which I'll go into more detail in just a moment, and comes lots of it, all of this information is in the follow-up notes as well. The main vitamin that I think we need to be careful about is vitamin D. It's the vitamin that we normally make under our skin through the action of sunlight. So ultraviolet rays help our skin to convert pre-vitamin D into an active form. Now that happens during the summer months in England, and we're advised by the Department of Health to have a supplement of 10 micrograms a day of vitamin D throughout the winter, and some people are advised to have it all year round. Now lots of people don't take this supplement because they just haven't heard of this, and you can end up having low intakes or low levels of vitamin D in your body. And when that happens, that can affect our immune system. And the other one, which is very important, is vitamin B12. If you're following a vegan style diet, then vitamin B12, it's essential to take a supplement every day or to have foods that are fortified with vitamin B12. So if I just give you an example of what can happen if you don't get enough of a vitamin, say for example vitamin A, then that could affect the mucus lining of, say, the trachea or the windpipe, and the linings of the lungs as well. So the linings could be more permeable and let pathogens in, which otherwise would have been kept out. So we need to think about how we can make sure that we get enough of these vitamins so that our immune systems are working as normally as possible. When it comes to vitamins and minerals, if we eat in this with the style of the Eat Well guide, then most of our other vitamins and minerals are covered, with the exception of vitamin D and for people following a vegan diet, the B12. So this is the guide that we use in England. It's a visual representation of the proportions of foods that we need to be aiming for each day. 5 servings of fruit and vegetables, and this is true in any of the different countries where you will see this proportion of fruit and vegetables. We advise 5 portions a day minimum. And then the carbohydrate section, we try to advise the whole grain versions of these. We have a small section for added fats and oils, and we advise mostly the oils rather than the saturated fats, the solid fats. This is a section on dairy and dairy alternatives, and this section is for beans, pulses, fish, eggs, and meat and other proteins. You'll see here that the treat foods, the sweets and cakes and biscuits and things, are actually outside completely, so these should very much be seen as treats. And we've got the suggestion of keeping fluids up by about 6 to 8 cups a day. If we were to eat like this most of the time, then we would be on the whole covering our vitamin and minerals that we need to keep our immune systems working normally. There are times when that's not possible, or perhaps times when we go through phases when we're not eating like this. And if this has been going on for a while, or if you've been poorly, then it's very much worth speaking to your doctor, because they will be able to give you blood tests and see whether you are actually running low on any of the nutrients. And they would, for example, be able to pick up iron deficiency anemia, they'd be able to pick up low vitamin D, and these are times when actually a doctor will prescribe you an intake of those vitamins and minerals to get you back up to normal intakes. If you did feel that you wanted to do something yourself, then you could consider, with your doctor's approval, then maybe just taking a moderate vitamin and mineral supplement every day. I would go for one which has about 50% of the recommended intake of the vitamins and minerals that it lists on the packet. I wouldn't go for any more than that, because even if your diet isn't brilliant, you probably are getting the other 50% from the food that you are eating. But best thing to do is try and get your nutrition into shape in this kind of format. Otherwise, do speak to your doctor, try and get some tests, see if you are deficient in any of them, and make those up. There are some other just quick pointers that I wanted to mention as well, because there isn't a huge amount of work in humans on nutrition and immunity. There's some in laboratory studies, there's some on animals, and there's a little bit on humans. And the things that have been linked to your immune system working as well as it can are whole grains. Some scientists in America have done studies which show that if we switch to whole grains, our body's ability to recover post attacks by pathogens is better. And also whole grains can help to feed the microbiome, the bacteria in our gut, and it may be that that has an effect on our immune systems as well. So swapping to whole grains is something that is recommended anyway in the Eat Well guide, as I showed you earlier. There's also some limited work around flavonoids in our diets, and flavonoids are a type of super nutrient and antioxidant which come in different forms in a range of foods, so things like tea, onions, apples, some dark green vegetables. And it seems that when we have diets that are particularly rich in flavonoids, which we would get again if we were to have a wide range of fruit and veg every day, then it seems to be good for helping to reduce inflammation in our bodies, and inflammation can compromise our immune system. And also weight. We do know, again, that carrying a lot of excess weight can put our bodies into a state of really chronic inflammation, and that can hamper the immune system's ability to work normally. There's a little point to make about ageing. As we get older, as we move through the decades, our immune systems are become a little frailer. So making sure our diets are in tip-top condition is particularly important as we get older. And as I mentioned with supplements, if you do want to take supplements, I would check with your doctor first. And if you do go for one, then, as I say, just go for one that's about 50% of your recommended intake, so you're not overdoing things, because as much as having too little of nutrients can be a problem, so can having too much. So I hope you find that useful. There's lots more information to back up what I've been saying today and to go into a bit more detail, which you can find online. Thank you.